Mark, good to see you again, and I can see you've been busy, and congratulations on the success of that Lincoln Go 900 video. What, 258,000 views? Is that a record so far?
It's not a record. I think it's the record fastest to that number, definitely, which I didn't expect because a lot of people don't know what Lincoln Co. is. It's just not really a well-known brand around the world. And yeah, it really took off. If it was the Range Rover element, triggered a few people, I'm not sure. But yeah, did really, really well off the bat, that one. Quite surprising.
Well done. I know that must have pushed a button. And talking of topping that, I guess the only way to top that is another auto show. And we've got another one coming up. Today we're going to do a preview of the Shanghai Auto Show coming up, of course, in Shanghai for April 23rd to May the 5th. And you'll be there again, yeah?
We do my usual walk around, so it's going to be another 3.5-hour video at least, like it was last time. It's going to be a lot of sore feet, but I'm going to be there for 3 days, so I'm going to be walking around quite a lot, I think.
How big is it? Do you think is it the biggest auto show on earth?
I would say it is, yeah. I mean, obviously there used to be some pretty big ones, but Geneva was always quite compact, but it had a lot of cars there. Paris was a big one. But I mean, right now, a lot of the other global auto shows are getting smaller or disappearing. The Shanghai one is absolutely enormous. As you said, there's like over 100 brands there, more than 50, maybe even 60 Chinese brands. So there's so much to see. There's all the kind of, the external little stalls as well in other halls. But it's an enormous location. And yeah, it's the biggest one that I've ever been to, I think.
And this one alternates every year between
Shanghai and Beijing.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
We're just catching up. I'm trying to get my head around the scale of these things. What, 12 halls, right? We've had a couple of shows here. They just got the auto show season kicked off in Australia again, and 1 or 2 halls, but 12 halls of similar size. Just incredible, the scale, I guess. It's just hard to get my head around. So.
Yeah, it's something you can't really comprehend really until you see it. I mean, the gap between the halls is big enough as it is, but they're all huge halls, super tall. Like there's a double layer kind of setup, so it's kind of like it looks like a giant clover leaf, a 4-leaf clover from the top of the building that it's in. So like 12 of those halls are used, and yeah, it's a marathon really. It requires a lot of walking, and I'm pretty sure, like always, it's going to be absolutely packed full of people as well. These shows are full of influencers and people taking photographs. You've got crowds around Lei Jun, the Xiaomi boss, and stuff like that. So it's going to be, even though it's such a massive show, it's going to be really crowded at the same time and difficult to get to all the cars. 2 days of media days here in China. Then you get 2 professional days, which anybody can get a ticket to, and then the public days. And it's not like little small stands. You get the big brands, especially the foreign brands, the Mercedes brands and BMW. They get massive stands. BYD tends to get an entire hall to themselves because it's the Shanghai Auto Show. SAIC will have all their brands in there. So yeah, it's just absolutely enormous, and it gets so many visitors as well.
What are you looking forward to? Have you got a couple that you've identified that you're really looking at?
Yeah, it's a question I was asking yesterday with another YouTuber and thinking what kind of cars are standing out. I mean, I think Denza are going to be launching a new sports coupe, like a kind of a Porsche Carrera 911 style car. So that's going to be quite nice to look at. Whether it's going to be a Denza or not is another question, because last year they teased it as a Fangchungbao, but Fangchungbao is an off-road brand, so it's a bit weird to put a coupe in an off-road brand. But yeah, that one's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the Avatar 06, which is Avatar is by Changan, the same company that makes Deepal, which you sell over there in Australia. And that Avatar 06 is a really stunning car. I'm hoping they're going to bring the convertible version that we've seen a few spy videos of, because it's nice to get some convertibles out of China. We don't get so many of those over here. Yeah, BYD are going to have a massive show. They've already launched about 10 cars this year. Probably another 30 more to go. So yeah, they're going to have the super fast charging Han L and the Tang L, these megawatt charging cars. They're going to have the Sea Lion 05, which I can see going to Australia, to be honest. That's kind of like a mid to compact size SUV, I think. Hard to judge from the pictures exactly how big it is, but that one I'm pretty sure probably go to Australia. Feels like that kind of market. And the CL06 wagon as well. So obviously I did the CL06 GT recently, and there's going to be a wagon version. The technical pictures don't look quite as sporty as the CL06 GT, but it's nice to have another wagon as well. Speaking of wagons, Zeekr 007 GT. So shooting brake, they call it. It's technically still a wagon, but it is more sporty, so it is a shooting brake, I guess. That's a really stunning looking car. So looking forward to getting up close with that. and they're going to bring the 9X as well, which is going to be their new flagship supersized SUV. So that's going to be interesting. It looks quite bold on the pictures. I'm not sure how they're going to top the Lincoln Co 900, to be honest, in terms of how they put that one together. But it's going to be impressive, and it will be a plug-in hybrid, so it won't be a full electric version. Although I think there might be a full electric version. That's what I've been told. XPeng, of course, they're coming with the G7, so they've actually delayed the launch of that because the updated G6 and G9 are doing well. So obviously the updated versions will be there as well. So the G7 will be nice to see. It's going to be more like a SUV version of the P7 Plus. I'm expecting maybe something from Smart. I'm not sure. They've not done anything new recently since the 5, so there's probably going to be a concept, possibly of something more like a Smart 4.2. I know there's been a couple of articles recently that they're looking to do that, and I've spoken to them myself about it. They told me that they're trying to build it on the SEA platform because all the Smarts are currently on Zeekr's SEA platform. But the challenge they're getting is getting 5 stars on a safety rating out of a car that's so small. So if they can get 4 stars, they'll be happy. Obviously, safety regulations get tougher and tougher every year, so it's not easy to get all that into a smaller car. But they might be a concept of a 2-seater. That'd be nice to see if they've got one. Other than that, they might just come up with something else.
Yeah, Smart seem to have got bigger and bigger. I think the 1, the 3, the 5, they just keep getting bigger and bigger and getting, instead of reverting back to their roots of being a nice compact city car, they seem to be getting bigger, right? So.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't get much bigger than the 5. I mean, when they launched the 5 at the Beijing show last year, the designer was saying, yeah, but everyone says we should make a smaller car. I don't think that's right. I think we should be making cars that are more appropriate and for people. It's like, no, stick to the roots. Okay, fine, you do 1, 3, and 5, but give us something small as well. Not everybody needs a massive SUV for off-road adventures. Some people just want a city car.
I know the money's in medium to large cars. The choice of smaller car here in Australia is just dwindling up to 2 or 3 now, and maybe the Dolphins is close to an EV small cars you get. But clearly the margins aren't there on an economic basis, so they just keep stepping up and getting bigger and bigger. It's speaking of getting a bit more luxurious and moving up market, I am launching here at one of our smaller auto shows in Melbourne this weekend. So MG is still having a crack with that here, and pricing's expected to be on a premium side here. You're going to see anything from MG over there this time, you think?
So obviously the MG4 pictures have been released recently, so that's been updated, softened a little bit, I would say, in the styling. I've heard the reception hasn't been too great in Australia for it, and some people say it's not quite as edgy as the old one. Yeah. I thought the old one was a little bit odd in some ways, so I think the new one is probably more, maybe it would appeal to a broader base, I guess, something like that. If they'll come up with anything else, I'm not sure. I think, they might come up with a concept for something. It'd be nice to see but I think the 4 is probably going to take the main precedence on the MG stand. Obviously, the IM presented by MG Motors, confusing name. Yeah. I'm not sure IM will come out with anything new. They've been really struggling, honestly, in China. Yeah. The first performance in the last few months has been shocking, to put it bluntly. Yeah. So I think they're kind of hoping that the rest of the world will find them more appealing.
Yeah, as these new names roll out, they start to move a bit more research into how they're doing into the market in China. Yeah, you start to see that, while they're pushing out around the world, perhaps the home market isn't as good, and that's certainly seems to be the case for the MG4, right? It hasn't done as well in its current form, whereas it's been quirky and interesting, and it was one of the first 2 or 3, and one of the first cheaper ones here for sure. So Denza's launching here later in the year as well. You mentioned them, and I think them launching in Australia as a separate brand from BYD. The importers here haven't got the concession for Denza here. So what are you expecting to see from Denza?
So the B5, which I've reviewed on my channel, it'll almost certainly come as a B5. I've seen plates on a Fancheng Bao 5 called a Denza B5. So that one's going to come to Australia. They've just released the Thai 3, which presumably will come as a T3 to Australia. That's kind of a more compact SUV. And that one's quite funky. It's fully electric, unlike the B5, which is a plug-in hybrid. Yeah. And it's got, it's kind of like big boy styling on a fairly small car. And it comes with a DJI drone box on the top. So you can follow yourself with a drone and film your driving as well. I'm not sure how many people are going to do that, to be honest, because there's so many cables across the road in China. But maybe it's better in somewhere like Australia where the cables are more tidy and underground.
What other exciting cars from China are you looking forward to seeing at the Shanghai Auto Show?
Looking forward to seeing the production version of a sports car. So not the Denza one, but this was a little kind of it's a small startup brand almost. They're called SSC, and they've launched kind of something that looks a bit like a modern day Lancia Stratos, fully electric with support from I think Xiaomi or Huawei. So that's going to be quite fun to see that in person.
Behind these very inconspicuous doors is probably one of the most exciting EV developments that I've seen in my time here in China.
I believe Elliot Richards, who we both know, actually put down a deposit on one when these first came out about 2 years ago.
I'm just surprised standing. I'm actually standing next to this car that I've put a deposit down for, not this exact one. And it's here, it's real, it's going to happen in a few months' time. It's amazing to see this process behind the scenes as well.
So you might actually finally get one soon, which would be quite cool. Yeah, so obviously Firefly, so that NIO's third brand. Not that they really need 3 brands at this point, but that's coming soon. I'll be driving that one next week sometime, I believe.
For viewers here in Australia, NIO is not here yet, right? They've made a lot of inroads in Europe and China with their battery swap out network, right? That's the primary NIO brand's got that battery swap out network, right?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge for them, to be honest. They've made a few missteps, I would say, on that, because they're having to upgrade their battery swap stations. So they basically have the NIO brand, and they had three battery sizes. Then they brought out Onvo, their second brand, and that had 2 different battery sizes. And they had to upgrade all the swap stations to accommodate these new batteries. And now they've got Firefly, and there's some kind of confusion over whether it will be battery swappable or not, or the first batch won't be swappable, then they will be using CATL's Choco Set batteries, which might mean a different swap station again. ET9, their new car, their executive saloon type car, like a fastback style back end on it. That again has another battery and requires all the battery swap stations to be upgraded again. So they're just burning through money at the moment. They're making some questionable decisions on that. So it's a great idea in concept. It's amazing having your battery swapped within 3 minutes, but they just need a bit more forward thinking somehow.
NIO's a startup, isn't it? It's not a government. It's not a government enterprise. No.
Correct. Yeah, they're a startup like XPeng and like Li Auto. Honestly, I think XPeng's rejuvenation in the last 5 months kind of shows that they've matured and understood what they need to do to survive, because it's still not easy for any of these brands. I think there's only Li Auto and I believe Leapmotor have now become profitable as well. Yeah, they've got the B10 that should be shown at the show that's coming to Australia as well, kind of a small SUV. So yeah, it's not easy to be profitable in this game at the moment, and NIO and XPeng know that. XPeng have simplified their process. NIO seems to be making theirs more complicated, and they really have to sort their game out this year. Otherwise, they're going to be struggling, I think.
I know. In principle, it's a great idea from an engineering perspective and an efficiency perspective. But yeah, mobile phones used to be able to change your battery 15 years ago. Now it's sealed up and done. So, clearly there's a reason for it, an engineering reason. Although it sounds like a good idea, perhaps practically speaking, it's not the best way to go. But yeah, good luck to them. But what else are you looking forward to seeing?
Exceed, so that's a Chery brand. They've been teasing this kind of very funky looking MPV, big MPV, very chiseled design. Looking forward to seeing if we get a production version of that finally. Chery tend to show a lot of concepts at motor shows, so hopefully we'll get some good concepts out of them for new models coming up. It's really hard actually with the state-owned brands to get good foresight on what they're going to bring. They don't really show off their spy shots so much, unless you're in the city where they're made. No one ever sees them, so it's never easy to know what's going to come. Li Auto, they've got a fully electric car coming, so they had the Mega last year. They're now bringing out the i8, which it's an SUV technically, but it's a very different kind of looking SUV. It's kind of like Mega styling, which is kind of this sort of bullet train shaped car, but on an SUV. So that's going to be a very interesting car to see. Hopefully that'll be quite good and received quite well. It's already been delayed because the Mega didn't do super well in terms of sales. I
was going to mention that it hasn't done as well as what they expected, right? So
yeah, it got a bit of bad press. Not bad press as a car, because as a car it was brilliant, but it got compared to a coffin, and the Chinese don't really like the idea of death quite so much. I don't think anyone does really. So SAIC, obviously it's their home show. They are going to be announcing and possibly hopefully showing the first car of a collaboration with Huawei, and I believe it might be a full-on collaboration. So Huawei have 4 brands currently under the HIMAR brand. So it's like Harmony Intelligent Mobility Alliance, I think it's called. So they've got Ito, which is a couple of SUVs, very nice. They've got Stellato, which is currently a saloon. They've got Maestro, which is this super luxurious like Rolls Royce type car. Actually, one's been seen in Australia recently, which is a surprise.
I know.
And they've got
I think Riz found that. What the hell? Someone sent some photos in. I know we saw that yesterday. So what the hell?
yeah, Australia wasn't the first place I expected to see that, to be honest. But there you go. If they're looking to expand to Australia, that's good. I know Ito are expanding to Europe. They've already started talking about that. So it's a logical next step having Australia included as well. So they're going to be joining up with SAIC to make another one. So it'll be a 5th brand that's part of the HIMAR Alliance, and this one should be kind of for younger, sort of more funky buyers, let's say. So it's probably going to be an SUV, almost certainly, but it'll be smaller. It'll be packed full of Huawei tech and motors and screens and speakers and stuff like that. So it should be quite good. Hopefully they'll show the first car off this time.
Anything from the Europeans? Audi, of course, has got their own new Chinese brand. Anything else we're hoping and praying for from the Europeans?
Yeah, so the production version of the new Audi brand. I don't know how to say it differently. Audi in all capital letters.
Capital D, capital I.
Yeah. So they're bringing their new, shooting brake estate kind of thing, which is obviously built on an SAIC platform. So that'll be interesting to see the production version. The concept looked pretty good actually, but more important is the proof in the pudding. Will it sell well in China? Which is another question. Yeah, I mean BMW they tend to show some electric stuff off at the Chinese Auto Show, so maybe they're going to bring out proper electric 3 Series of the Neue Klasse, as they call it. Maybe we'll finally get a production version of that at a guess, maybe.
Amazing that BMW and Volkswagen, they keep teasing these cars, but it's time to just get the cars out there to the marketplace. The longer you keep teasing, the more the market moves on these days. The cycle product of the life cycle of these cars is getting shorter and shorter, right?
Well, I mean, the ID, everyone, they still say it's going to come out next year or the year after. It's not fast enough. You need it to come sooner. But actually, speaking of Volkswagen, they're going to be building 2 cars with XPeng. So there's a good chance, actually thinking about it, that maybe the first one of those will be shown at the show. That would make sense if they can at least tease what that might look like. And I think they might only sell those in China. We'll have to see. But the demand is there in external markets. They'll do so. But it'll be good to have some good tech in a Volkswagen for once. None of these stupid window switches. We have to press another button just to change to the back windows and stuff like that. And these rubbish slidey dials on the screen. Once they can get rid of that rubbish screen in the middle and fix all that, it'll be a better car, I think.
Any other Europeans? Mercedes? They're talking about a new direction as well. Maybe this is an opportunity to show something.
Yeah, also I think they'll show off the CLA, obviously the new electric CLA, which actually looks a bit like a smart car, to be honest. It's got all the smart style across the front with the connected headlamps. The back end looks pretty nice. It does look quite sporty, and it's got some incredible range figures from what they've claimed. So I think that's on its side. It does feel still a bit like a nightclub inside, still with the ambient lighting a bit over the top, which seems to be the way to go now with Mercedes.
I agree, but yeah, is that what the Chinese market want? All the LEDs and over the top screens inside? Is that what they want, or they want something a bit more simple? Tesla.
They want the screens, absolutely. Yeah, they want the screens as long as they're good and they're quick and they operate well. Mercedes' operating system hasn't been particularly great in recent years compared to the Chinese stuff, which is super clear and easy to use. So the screens definitely. I think ambient lighting. It's they all want ambient lighting, but the Mercedes stuff is a little bit over the top. I think they always show these really red light shots, and it's a bit like okay, it's a bit crass. But anyway, yeah. So the CLA should come. Maybe they'll tease something else as well. Maybe a concept of some kind. Would be nice to see. I know they're gonna. What was it? The EQXX, I think. Maybe they'll move close to production with that, or maybe that's just the CLA. I'm not sure. But yeah, they haven't really given any hints.
And do the Koreans go, or do the French go? Does Renault go, or they don't worry so much about it?
No, I mean Renault doesn't sell in China anymore. They used to do, but not so much. I think you can get them imported, but no one really does. Peugeot and Citroën, they are there, but they tend to be just their standard models. Maybe they'll come up with something new. The Koreans do come. They're slowly getting there. Hyundai are going to start engineering some cars just for China in their new sort of Shanghai R&D center. So maybe they'll show something. I want to see this Insterion or whatever they called it, this sporty looking car. I hope that they show that off. That would be nice.
Instaroid, yeah.
Instaroid, that was the one. That's the one.
Unfortunate combination of Insta and steroid.
Sounds like hemorrhoid, but they.
The Kia EV3 has just launched here, and it's still about 47 grand. It's still 10 grand more than it should be, right? So, yeah, the Insta needs to be under 40. Otherwise, they're just going to get rolled over. What about the Japanese Toyota, Lexus?
Yeah, so they've been pushing their EV stuff. So they did the BZ3X recently, which is kind of a reskinned Ion V. And the Ion V should be coming to Australia as well, by the way. Whether the Toyota will, I'm not sure. But they've done that, and that came in at a really bargain basement price. So it might do quite well, actually, for Toyota. They're just probably just going to continue doing a few more rebodied Chinese cars that are effective and hopefully better looking than the BZ3X.
Drag reluctantly to the EV Ultra, right? It's just
very much so, yeah.
All down the aisle to the EV Ultra. Just one other question while I got you. There was a BYD E7 I saw last week, like complete change in naming convention and different, smaller, looked like a very economical, about the seal size, but look, yeah, really budget-packed taxi style, maybe competition for the Mona, yeah?
Yeah. I'd forgotten about the E7, to be honest, because it's hard to keep up with BYD. The first quarter this year has been the BYD quarter, I think. I'm
just starting to read some of the Chinese websites are held a lot closer, and just looking at some of the headlines each day, and they're just remarkable what's being spat out right every day. But they'll all be there. Just hard to know where that one fits in as well. But I personally think it's going to be a bit of a neat swing back to EVs again. As soon as this whole everyone's going to gear up for hybrids, and then finally they'll just go, hey, there's this thing, like it's just one engine, and it's a pure electric car with a battery. And I just think, well, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. Why would we worry about the complication? And so I think we're going to have this blip of sort of right-wing pushback, minor right-wing pushback, and then all of a sudden EVs are just going to be the best thing since sliced bread again. So.
Well, I mean, since they're getting a push now towards bigger batteried hybrids, which is essentially like saying, right, you're going to get 50%, 60% of the way to an EV, but just in case you can have the extra range. But, you can do 300 kilometers now. And, the question is, how big are we going to get these batteries on hybrids before we finally just say, all right, EVs is the better thing to have?
I know, to appease someone who can't make the switch, we'll put a 50cc aeroplane aero engine in there, because it's definitely the range of it's a hybrid, right? And we'll put a 56 kilowatt hour battery in as well. But it has got a little range, just in case I run out of electricity. If you take this to the nth degree, this stupid argument, we're going to end up in that silly situation, right?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Mark. That gives us a fantastic overview of what we can expect. The Shanghai Auto Show starts 23rd of April, goes to early May. Soon after that, you're going to see Mark's walk around on his channel, Inside China Auto, where there'll be a mammoth, hopefully 4K walk around of everything we talked about, and a whole lot of surprises as well. So keep an eye out for that one. It's not far away now. Thanks, Mark, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
No worries. Thanks for having me.